Hi guys, welcome to Project Write. I am Sarah and this is the third lesson that I would like to share with you to help you become a stronger story writer. Okay, so I did include an attachment on this lesson just like I did in segment 2. This, you really don't need this one because everything that I'm going to do you can do on just a plain old piece of paper. But the first thing I'm going to have you do is trace your hand. So you put your hand on here. You can see my hand is big for this space, but it's built for a kid hand. You're going to trace your hand. And I don't want a skinny hand. I want a big old fat clown hand so that you can write notes inside the hand. And what this lesson is for is to help you maybe write a story that doesn't start with once upon a time or one time or some one day, to try and get you away from that and get you into a stronger story beginning. The story spine touches on it a little bit when you do this part at the very beginning, and it tells you to include the setting and include some information about your character. This five-finger lead is kind of the same thing. So it's a five-finger lead. We trace our hand and we trace it big or fat, and then we put notes in every single finger to remind us of what to do when we start a story. So I'm going to get started tracing my hand, and you can do the same. So, like I said, this is called a five-finger lead. So I'm going to start tracing my fat hand. Go for clown hand here, not skeleton. Okay, so this is sort of what you're going to have. And like I said before, we are just going to start to add notes into every finger, giving us a clue on each finger about what do we need to put in the very beginning of the story. So in that first finger, I want you to put the word I, or you can write character. When you're starting a story, you are definitely going to introduce the character. Maybe the character is you, and that's why you write I. Maybe the character has a name. It really depends if you're trying to write a story in the first person or you're trying to write a story in the third person. Okay? In the next section, you are going to put time, so like the time of day. And in addition to the time, I always say put what I like to call a 3-word combo here. 3-word combination, but we'll abbreviate and write combo. Well, if you haven't been taught what a 3-word combo is, this is part of my beginning lessons on becoming a better writer. And basically, let's say you have any noun. So let's say the time of day is morning, okay? But you want to describe morning better. Morning is a noun, okay? If you want to describe morning a little bit better or a little more specific, or even just create a picture in a person's mind about that morning, maybe it's a cold, crisp morning. Maybe it's a hot, sunny morning. Okay, so that's how you turn your noun into a 3-word combination. You put 2 describing words before the noun. So cold, crisp, morning. And then you have this situation right here where you have the time, which is morning, and you put it with a 3-word combination. It's a cold, crisp morning. Okay, it could be a hot, sunny afternoon. It could be a dark, gloomy evening. You get the idea. The third thing that I want you to write inside of your hand is the place. Okay, so another word for place that you should know is the actual setting. Okay, so a lot of you, if you're just beginning and you are trying to write a story for the first time that has a problem and a solution, maybe you start off in your bedroom or you start off in your classroom, and then something just goes wrong and you've been catapulted into this fantasy bank problem that we made up in the first lesson. So when you're talking about your place or your setting, it could just be an ordinary place where you start off, maybe even the bathroom, okay? But in that first paragraph, now you've introduced a character, you've given a roundabout time of day with a three-word combination, and you're also giving the place or the setting of where you are, okay? This is starting to feel a lot better than a story that begins with once upon a time. The next thing that I think makes a really good five-finger lead is when you give a feeling. You can give the character's feeling. You can give the feeling of just the place or the setting. But what makes it really pop, really stand out, is you give that feeling with a simile. So what is a simile? A simile is a comparison of two unlike things, and you don't want to go overboard with your simile. You don't want to give a comparison of something that nobody knows, because then you're going to eliminate your audience. But if it's cold, what's something else that is cold? Well, an ice cube, right? Or an iceberg. So if your character is sitting in their room and the heater is broken, you could say the room was literally as cold as an iceberg. If you are having a character that is scared, like something is wrong, you're going to write a story about something is wrong, you could say, let's say your character's name is Jack. Jack was as scared as a cat by a rocking chair. And that just tells us that, that cat better be careful because his tail can get pinched underneath the rocking chair. Okay, and Jack is scared, so we're kind of giving a nice comparison explaining that he's scared. Okay, now if you don't feel comfortable writing similes yet, I would go back to the basic writing lessons. But you don't have to put a simile in there. You can still just tell how the character is feeling. Finally, after you've done these things where you've introduced the character, you've given the time of day with a three-word combination, you've told the setting, you've given the feeling of the character and possibly given that feeling with a simile, the last thing that I want you to do in the very beginning is write a hook. Now, just depending on the writer's experience, sometimes a hook is very this is the story of the time, I was abducted by aliens. Or it can be more subtle. It can be something like, you will never believe what happened after this. Okay? It can be very concrete and direct, saying exactly what is going to happen, or it can be more like you're leaving hints. You're giving some foreshadowing or a look or a glimpse or a hint into what is to come. It just depends on your experience and how comfortable you are. But to me, the hook also gets somebody thinking, ooh, what's going to happen next? Okay, so I just gave you a bunch of notes, but this takes practice. My class, when we do five-finger leads, sometimes we'll practice them for a good week. We'll practice and we'll practice and we'll practice, and we won't write the rest of the story for a whole week. So maybe a kid will write 10 five-finger leads, maybe they'll write 15. We just need to practice so that we get it down. One of the things that I have found that helps is in the very beginning, I make a little template, okay? So I'm gonna put a picture of this into this video so that you have it and you could use the template to start. And after you get used to it, you won't need this template anymore, but I want you to have it. So basically, it just kind of shows you it was a blank, blank, blank. So that's where we're putting our time of day with our three-word combination. So it was a dark, gloomy afternoon. Okay? Right here in the template, you have I being the character. Let's say I'm just going to write this story in the first person. It's about me. I was in my bedroom, and I was as lonely as a turtle in its shell. Okay? So it's a dark, gloomy afternoon. I was as lonely as a turtle in its shell. I've done pretty much everything. The character, the time of day with the three-word combination. I'm in my room. I'm lonely as my feeling. Okay? This is the story of when I could say anything here. This is the hook. This is the story of the best day of my life, which is a twist, right? And that's some foreshadowing. If I'm gonna have the best day of my life, that's awesome because it started out gloomy and horrible and lonely. Or this is the story of when aliens came and stole me from my room. That's a little more specific. This is the story of the day where the most unexpected thing happened. Okay, that's vague. That's a little bit of foreshadowing. That's a little bit of hint. But the hook is going to make it so that somebody wants to read further. They want to know, okay, what's going to happen next? And that's what we're always trying to do with each paragraph and each section. We're trying to make it so they want to keep going. They want to keep reading. And you can see how this is a little bit different than just saying, once upon a time. And there's nothing wrong with Once Upon a Time. It's a classic. It's a beginning. But I'm just trying to help you stretch it maybe to the next level and do something that you haven't done before and do something different. Okay, so I think what I'll do now is I will practice writing a few of them myself, and then I'll share with you what I write. And then you can also try to write some as well. Okay, here is a five-finger lead that I wrote while I was practicing with kids. These were kids in my writing club. I wrote, it was a hot summer morning and I was as sweaty as a McDonald's manager flipping 1,000 greasy burgers. This day had better turn out the way I had planned, so I have to get out of these gym clothes and get ready. Okay, small hook, very subtle hook. It's just a tiny bit of foreshadowing, letting you know something else is going to happen. Okay, here's another one. It was a delightfully exciting afternoon, and I couldn't wait to get out of my old lumpy bed. My nerves were shot, like what a fried egg would feel like in a frying pan at 1,000 degrees. All I needed to do was get up, get out of bed, and head out on my bike to the best day ever. And just below it is another practice that I did. It was an insanely cold morning, and I was feeling like a fish out of water at my outdoor swim meet. This is the story that has nothing to do with my swimming and everything to do with all things land related. Again, kind of a subtle hook. But if you go back through all of them, okay, you have hot summer morning. That's your time and three-word combo. That's your character, okay? I was sweaty as a McDonald's manager flipping 1,000 greasy burgers. Feeling, sweaty, kind of a feeling. I'm hot, maybe I'm a little miserable, and I'm comparing myself to a McDonald's manager. That's my simile. I'm not a McDonald's manager. I'm saying this day had better turn out the way I had planned, so I have to get out of these gym clothes and get ready. I forgot to say hot summer morning also gave us the time and the three-word combination, and the hook is at the end kind of saying I want a better day. If you come over here, it was a delightfully exciting afternoon. So again, there's your three-word combination and time of day. I am the character. Couldn't wait to get out of my old lumpy bed. Hey, there's another three-word combination, bed being the noun, and old and lumpy describing my old kind of gross sounding bed. My nerves were shot, there's a feeling, like what a fried egg would feel like in a frying pan at 1,000 degrees. That's a simile. I'm not a fried egg. So a fried egg and I, we are unlike. We are unlike items, but we're being compared to each other because my nerves are shot. All I needed to do was get up, get out of bed, and head out on my bike to the best day ever. Okay, there's the hook, telling you right there, I'm going to try to have a better day. Okay, you would have to read the rest of the story to find out if that's true or not. Here's the next one. It was an insanely cold morning, time of day, 3-word combination, and I was feeling, I being the character, feeling like a fish out of water. A fish out of water is going to be pretty darn uncomfortable because they're not going to survive unless they get back in the water. So if I'm feeling like a fish out of water, I'm also uncomfortable. And I'm at my outdoor swim meet. This is the story that has nothing to do with my swimming and everything to do with all the things land related. It gives you the setting, I'm at my swim meet, and it gives you a hook that is somewhat subtle. It doesn't tell you what's going to happen next, but it does tell you something else is going to happen. Here's an example written by a 4th grader. It was a cold, wet night, and I was on my porch feeling as cold as an ice cube. Let me tell you about the time when I was on my porch. Here's another example from a 4th grader. It was a dark, cold night, and I was as scared as a mouse being chased by a cat. Let me tell you the time I met a bear. And that's it, guys, in this lesson. It's short, it's simple, it's sweet, but it takes practice to get good at it, okay? So practice. Use the template. I'll put it up again at the end of the video so that you have it to copy down if you haven't yet, and play around with it. Maybe when I put it up the next time, I'll kind of tell you what should go in these blanks. As you get better at it and more experienced, you can mess it around, and it doesn't have to be in this order. This is really just a template to help you get started. Okay, guys? Have fun.